visuals down here. You can always see. But yeah. All right, y'all. Welcome back to Town Talk.
What up?
Another episode of
Welcome
Town
to
Talk
another one.
Tuesdays, y'all. How the host feeling today?
Oh man, it's
It's
a
pouring.
It's
pouring.
semi day.
It's pouring, and I don't know. I think that when it's pouring like this, it always it has that rebirth, kind of like feeling like it's
wash away your sins.
It's it's just it's a sign of just new things ahead. I feel
That's
like
what's up.
so. I mean, obviously Seattle's dealing with a big situation, and we don't have Russ and Sierra here no more. So, how do y'all feel about Kaepernick? I mean,
Hold on, man. We gonna get into it.
Way too early.
Jump in.
That's what I'm saying. That's my first feeling.
I got you though, but first we gotta keep
I'm
it.
like,
Come
We
on.
gotta keep it focused to the theme of this Town Talk Tuesday, and is
Oh.
buying a home in Seattle. We got our cousin Anzhane in the house. Everybody, let me get the applause for her.
Come on,
that
come
going
on.
right now. You feel me?
It's about time we have some female energy on this show.
Had to. It's
It's about
We-
time.
Yes, indeed. We're
She hit me
glad
up
to
and
have you.
said we needed some womanly energy, and I agree. We needed that. So she's the first
Facts.
ever on Town Talk.
It was
Come
only
on.
right. It was only right.
Come on.
come on.
Gotta represent out here.
Yeah, so
Yeah. When are you gonna get your weekly segment though?
We was just
we
talking.
talking about a monthly segment for sure, but
For
yeah, we
sure.
got. But
Hey,
look,
how do we do it?
but let me just go ahead and play her intro video for y'all, and we gonna get into that, and then after that we'll.
Love impacting families in underrepresented communities by guiding them on their homeownership journey. There is no better reward for me than handing over the keys to a new first-time homebuyer. Hi, my name is Anzhane Slaughter, and I'm a real estate agent for RE/MAX Integrity, serving the Seattle to Tacoma area since 2018. At the age of 22, I graduated from the University of Washington with a bachelor's in law and focus on housing policies in the United States. U.S. data shows an alarming homeownership gap between white and black communities. Without the opportunity to build equity in homes, studies prove that families lose social mobility, stability, and generational wealth. That's why I got into real estate. I made it my mission to fight for the communities who have been left out, because everyone deserves a home. In 2019, I got certified to teach the Washington State Housing and Finance Commission first-time homebuyer classes. These classes offer up to 4% down payment assistance with 0 down and 0 interest for the term of your home loan. That opportunity changes lives for families, including myself. At 23, I bought my first home using the same down payment assistance program. This was the smartest thing I could have ever done. It might sound cheesy, but it's true. If I can do it, then so can you.
Hey, my name is Sophia Price, and I live in Kent, Washington. I recently moved to Kent this past April when buying my first home, and that is complete courtesy of my amazing real estate agent, Anzhane Slaughter. She made my first time home buying experience impeccable. She answered every single question that I had with incredible knowledge. She even went out of her way to find additional information for me and circumstances to ease my mind. She did any and everything possible to make sure that I got into my dream home.
My name is Jessica Carter, and I currently reside in Scottsdale, Arizona. My experience with Anzhane was nothing short of phenomenal. Working with her was amazing. She made me feel so comfortable. Everything was easy. It was literally step-by-step process. She worked with me. And one thing is for sure, Anzhane knows the market. I had only lived in my home for a little over 2 years, so I wasn't expecting to get much back. It was built in 2004, so it was fairly new. However, by the end of the process, I got back $100,000.
Another opportunity RE/MAX affords me is their network. I'm able to connect clients who are relocating out of state with other RE/MAX agents in their respective cities. My heart is in real estate and bringing families and individuals a step closer towards financial freedom. If you're ready to take the first step and learn more about how you can become a homeowner, schedule a consultation with me. I'm accepting new clients just like you. Thank you.
Hey.
I
I want to be a
Yeah.
homeowner. How do I apply?
Nobody else coming with a video
real.
like that.
Yeah,
The
that
promo
was
is
a
going
beautiful
up.
commercial. Yeah, you got a commercial voice too.
Come on, guys.
You
that
know,
was
gotta
amazing.
keep it professional, right? Just because
Come
we
on.
black don't mean that we ain't professional. Don't mean that we don't know the business. Don't mean that we
feel
can't
me?
help us make money.
Exactly.
For real.
Come on.
For real, for real.
Love that video. Lou, Skip, I know it's probably your is you guys' first time seeing the video or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Nah.
give us your guys' reactions off the rip because
When I first seen it, I was like, "Oh, she's doing big things now. She's doing big because, wow, that was just overall just the professionalism and not only just her knowledge of the game and her passion for the game, but it's of the credit to the videographer too because he had official
Andrew
video.
LeMaja.
Man, bro,
Black man.
Man,
Yeah,
bro, had
shout
footage
out.
of all the Seattle sceneries, and that was just professional
job.
and professional views and stuff like that. And yeah, it's overall just that
Quality.
was A1
Yeah.
video.
Personally,
Thank
me,
you.
I love the structure of the commercial. I'm not commercial, but of the whole video itself
Yeah.
because it definitely not only brought out your background, about what you're doing, but also showed why you're doing this
Man.
and, your journey. Because, you say that you graduated with law.
Mm-hmm.
So, you took that law and then you brought it with the real estate and
Right,
brought
I
it
applied it.
together.
Yeah,
Yep.
facts.
And that's what we do.
Come on.
We're
Absolutely.
making something brand new and we're bringing it to our community. So,
Yeah.
our people. So, it's
Facts.
a win-win situation.
The why is the biggest part of that video. That's the takeaway that I want everybody to leave after
Mm-hmm.
they see this video is because there's a million real estate agents in Washington right now. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
there's a new one popping up on my social media every day.
Yeah.
So some people that I'm like, are you in real estate now
Yeah.
too? That's cool.
Yeah.
But why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Of course you can make some money off of it, and that's what
Yeah.
a lot of people. That's why they get
They
into
see
it.
the numbers,
But that's not why they stay in
Exactly.
it,
Exactly.
And the niche that I'm in is definitely seeking out black and brown people, right? Helping bring that stability to our homes, that generational wealth, and even just a stepping stone for us to achieve our our goals, our passions,
Yeah.
These houses appreciate, right? And,
Yes.
little to
Assets
2 to
are
3
everything.
years, you have 200K in your property for you to go and invest back into your own business.
yeah, absolutely.
We gotta live anywhere. We gotta live somewhere anyway.
Hey,
So
quick shout out to Hendrix Music Academy. They commented, yes, flower power.
yes,
And-
shout
and,
out.
And yes to Cap. Come on.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah, so,
Yes,
so
indeed.
Anzhane, let's start off the shop. I want to just ask you off the rip, so what is the current state of Washington real estate, and what are some tips for people of color such as us?
Absolutely, man. Washington real estate is booming, guys. I mean, Seattle is off the charts right now, but not even just Seattle, all the surrounding areas. When we talk about Renton, Kent, Puyallup, because what's happening, and we know this, we're all from the 206, right?
Yeah,
It's gentrified as heck. It don't even look like what it looked like when we was growing up.
Oh, not at
at
all.
Every
Not at
time I
all.
go back, I'm like, dang, there's new condos up and
exactly.
up. Like, where is that community center at? Like, what happened to that grocery store?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anyway, so a lot of people, in order to afford housing, they're moving out of King County,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It
Facts.
just because it's just getting ridiculous. The fundamentals of real estate always boils down to supply and demand. Okay, we have a huge demand of people that want to buy houses here because our economy is so rich. We got all these Fortune 500 companies. I mean, we can name the big ones: Amazon, Boeing, Microsoft, Facebook, Snapchat. But then we also have these smaller companies too, Rover, and these tech startups that nobody even knows about, but they're
all
making
coming out
bang.
left
Yeah.
and right. Digital apps is the future.
The cyber
right now.
security is huge, and so that's bringing people. All these people want to buy houses. So then that's the demand. The supply, on the other hand, we have low inventory. Like, all of our land has been cultivated. This isn't an area that hasn't
Kinda.
been lived in.
I mean, there's a lot in King County that is underdeveloped. I mean, you still have them pocket places in Auburn, that kind of like border where it's like Auburn, Kent, Federal Way, like that whole triangle area where it's
Yeah,
like
they're doing
weird
a
and-
pretty good job of turning those all to
Who's who.
apartments. And
You got to
But
think.
those are like the rural areas that are still like, there's not even really houses built. Like, there's still
Just
like
land.
vacant lots and stuff. And
But you
got
got to think, just because you don't see a house there doesn't mean that it's not owned by somebody. The
Oh, yeah,
city
for
owns a
sure.
lot of
yeah,
land.
for sure.
Okay,
For
and it's
sure.
not just on the market to sell, to buy.
sure.
So
Yeah.
when
For
I
sure.
say that our land has been cultivated, in order to build new developments, you have to go out to Frederickson, Spanaway. I mean, Pierce
Right.
County, Covington. These outskirts,
Yeah.
Black Diamond.
Yeah.
Like, you're not,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
build in Renton, Kent.
Eastern Washington
Auburn.
is wide open. wide open
Right.
plain,
Yeah.
just plains.
But
of
the
grass.
economy,
But yeah.
like, there is no
Yeah.
there's no
Right.
jobs
There's
out
nothing
there.
out there.
Right.
You
Nothing.
know?
We have actually that's one of the poorest counties in the United States, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
Is Whitman
That's-
County.
Is that over by Spokane?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pullman area.
Pullman, Spokane
Pullman
area,
area,
Whitman County.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very poor over there. Like
Yeah.
cheap cost of living, cheap rent, and everything. But yeah, there's not that many jobs.
Exactly, and the jobs bring people, you know, and that's what's raising the value.
Right.
Yeah.
So
right.
Anzhane, you talked a little bit about Pierce County. I wanted to ask you, so like, what is the ideal area now that with gentrification they're pushing people of color out of the downtown Seattle area. So what's like the next area where we can build a community as people of color? You think?
Well, definitely. I mean, Pierce County is just the most affordable. When property taxes are cheaper out here. I mean, we can pull up some stats. And I think I sent you some stats because the numbers don't lie, right? So let's look at the numbers, okay? The Northwest MLS is the official listing service when it comes to real estate for Western Washington, right?
Yeah, we got the numbers right here.
We got the numbers right here, and I got them closer because my eyes are getting, I want to really just point out, let's look at condos, because as we talk about affordability, okay, this is where Black and brown people can afford. This is where we're getting pre-approved. 2-parent households, even single, single individuals, right, can get approved for $350, $400.
Yes.
Okay, if we compare this year to last year, our average, the average sales price increased by 34%, 34.8% in just 1 year.
Damn.
So when we talk about making money, and to break those numbers down, was 354,000, 355,000 last year. Now looking at 478 on average. This is the median household. This is the price of the homes, right, in Pierce County. So when it comes to affordability, we definitely need to be looking at Pierce County. I mean, I, for example, bought my house, right, in the video you saw, bought my house for $250 in 2019. My house is worth like $389 right now, only 3 years later.
Yeah.
I could pull that $150 out and put it down on another property.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So really, we have to look at real estate as an investment. We have to look at as stepping stones too.
Absolutely.
We're all young. We're not looking to live in these properties forever. We're just looking to make some money so that we can fund our dreams.
Absolutely.
And
You're
build up
always
that
looking to
generational
appreciate.
wealth too.
Yes,
Absolutely.
the ability to pass on that house to your grandkids or your kids.
Oh yeah, and which means you don't have to sell it. The greatest offense when it comes to real estate is to live in the house for a couple years, then refinance, pull out the equity that you already been accumulating, and put that equity into your next property. So now you have 2 properties.
Yep.
And you just rent that first one out, let your renters pay your mortgage off. 30 years, in 30 years, we'll be 55, 56, and that house is going to be paid off, and a renter was paying it the whole time,
Yeah.
In 30 years, this Tacoma house that I live in right now is going to be well over 500,000.
Yeah.
It'd probably be 500,000 in the next 3 to 5 years.
It could
Possibly.
Oh, no.
I mean,
They'll possibly too.
It will.
They're moving south. They're moving south.
It's the demand.
It depends on depending on how far it might jump is depending on how fast the light rail gets built. Because if the light rail may have a stop like right next to your house, your value goes up even that much more because it's that much more access to an easy transportation.
Well, I was smart when I bought my house. It's already right off the freeway.
Exactly.
Looking
That's
towards
what I'm
freeway
saying.
transportation.
It's another
Great
option. That's
commute.
what I'm saying. You're already next to the
Definitely.
freeway.
Absolutely.
If you have a spot nearby or a parking ride nearby, that's easier incentive.
But
make
what
it
else we
that
found?
much higher.
What else we found out in the last
Yeah.
2 years are that more companies are going remote anyways. People don't even have
For
to
sure.
come. Microsoft people are living in Puyallup.
For sure.
Microsoft is in Redmond,
Yeah.
and they don't have to commute at all.
sure.
These are the type of people that we're competing against.
For sure.
We just gotta get in. Especially if you're working for yourself, then shoot,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, you should
ain't.
definitely be
You don't
able to
need to
do
drive
that.
nowhere.
Yeah. Exactly.
So break a little bit more of this chart down. So what can we see here? Just like from the normal person who doesn't know too much about what's being shown. What is it? What
For
can
sure.
we get out of this chart real quick?
Yeah. So first, I just want to highlight that these are stats put out by the Northwest MLS. You can see that in top right corner, just for all the critics and skeptics out there. Okay. This is the local market update for February 2022. So this is the most recent real estate facts that we have when it comes to Western Washington real estate, and it's broken into 2 parts. On the top, you'll see residential, and we can kind of look at. We're just looking at the housing prices, right? This is where you can see the biggest contrast. The information that you will see on the top 3 or 4 rows is kind of explaining the inventory and how we talked about it's low, right?
Yeah.
We only having There's 1,200 listings a month. Like, that's nothing. We're still sitting at a little under a week of inventory. And what that means, what a week of inventory. So a balanced market is having 6 months of inventory.
Yeah. Okay.
We have about a week of inventory, which means the inventory is only sitting for a week and then it's gone. It's not accumulated. It's not sitting on the market to really stack up.
Yeah.
So if you don't buy in that week, then those houses are gone. There's going to be a whole nother set of houses
Yeah.
They're definitely
the next
moving
week.
very fast.
That's why a balanced market is about 6 months, to see. That's to say it's not a seller's or a buyer's market.
Yeah.
We can kind of go a few lines down, and you can look at the median, and we know the difference between median and average, right? The median is like that middle, right? The middle point when it comes to like the sale prices, right? And so we're looking at about 533. But when we take the average, when we add them all up and divide by the total, then the average is a lot higher. Right, the average we're seeing is 589. This is residential, so I'm still looking at the top, guys.
Yeah.
But really, that percent change over time, that shows the change from last year to this year.
Yeah.
So there's all these people talking about, how much is it gonna appreciate? How how much will my house be worth in a year from now? Okay. Now, real estate isn't linear, so we can't say that we'll expect exactly these numbers next year, right? But what we have are the numbers from last year to this year. In the residential houses appreciated 14.8%. That's huge in 1 year.
14.8.
In 1 year. I mean, Washington, like Pierce and King County are probably one of the most advantageous booming markets across the country.
Absolutely.
Because we weren't developed we didn't have this demand just 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We're not California, but we're on our way.
Yeah,
You know?
the fact that apartment rent is just about the same as mortgage.
Right.
I mean, yeah,
Home ownership is just going to rise naturally. It
we've
makes
been the
sense.
fastest growing metropolitan city for my whole life, damn near. I mean, where people have been moving to Seattle more than anywhere else in the country because of our Boeing,
Our economy.
Microsoft,
Big,
and then
big.
later on Amazon boosted it up that much more. I think Amazon
Took it to the
just
next level.
took it to the next level. I think we're at probably like the highest like it's ever been, like since another like Western frontier where
Right,
everybody
right.
was moving out west, like
And
type move.
we have
Yeah.
a lot of land taken up. I mean, Costco has their own.
Yeah, they have their
like,
own
land.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah.
T-Mobile's headquarters are here.
yeah.
T-Mobile's
T-Mobile merged
headquarters.
with Sprint. I mean, this is huge.
we have a lot of Fortune 500 companies within a 30-mile radius
that have
you know?
more than 500,000 employees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And-
let's talk about
like,
Heavily.
It's super random. Like, I guess like one day we were all chilling and this dude, like who we just like met in the park, he ran the factory for like one of the biggest like dog treats. I guess they make the company is from out here, like one of like the biggest like dog treat makers. And
Yeah.
they make like organic ones.
Crazy.
We haven't even
Never
talked
know.
about Starbucks and Nordstrom's, which have
Starbucks,
always
Nordstrom's.
been
Oh,
here.
goodness.
Exactly.
But they're just
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah, we have a lot of money here, and it's always kind of been like that. But the Amazon really just elevated it to a whole nother level because they never had a grassroots program. They never had a grassroots program that instilled like, a high school pipeline or even like, kind of introducing it in the colleges or anything like that. They were always outsourcing their workers, like getting people to move in here from New York, getting people to move here from so and so. So
Yeah.
with that comes out of state developers.
Oh, for
and
sure.
and that's who most of the developers are like from New York, like our
California.
old house that we lived in the South End, right across the street from the Kubota Garden. They built 27 homes in that forest area that used to be that green belt.
Really? See, this is what
And that's what I'm
talking
saying. It was a New York developer, and what's crazy is our next door neighbor. He worked for the mayor. He's Bob.
Yep,
Bob, you
no,
remember
Bob.
Bob? But he worked for the mayor, and he tried to file, against this guy. He tried to file papers and everything.
He was
the
fighting
mayor
for years.
was literally trying to analyze the situation as far as keeping the green belt, because he knew obviously Seattle's a city that we have a lot of wildlife, and we're not the city to be You know,
the states definitely recognized a lot of disparities when it comes to homeownership, you know, and preserving the people that are Washingtonians, the people that actually take ownership in this land. I mean, the state has done many disparity studies, and one really stood out to me, right, when it comes to homeownership, and it boils down to race, okay? Black people only make up about 4% of the state, the population, okay?
And that's crazy.
And only, that's the facts, right?
I don't think it's true, because they just found out that they left over 20 million Native American, African American, and Latinos out of this 2020 census.
Well, the thing is, you have to open your door to answer the census. So these numbers might be a little off because black people, people of color don't necessarily trust these systems. And so we don't open our doors. We want to stay under the radar. But we really are shorting ourselves, because if we did answer these, you know, partake in these data surveys, we could get more resources for our community. Nonetheless, the point is only 26% of the little 4% that we do make up own homes in the state.
Yeah.
Not even half of our population. You know, 18% of our population, or 18% of the prison population, are black people in Washington state. So what I'm doing is spreading the education. It's spreading the knowledge. That's why I started teaching the first time homebuyer classes. I actually have a class at Green Hill incarcerated, like, facility, the maximum security, you know, to teach the first time homebuyer class, because these are some people that are about to be getting out in a year or two. They could use their down payment assistance. Anybody can buy a house. These sellers don't care. You just need money. That's all you need. They don't care what your background is. So I'm really excited to go to Green Hill to teach this class. Over 50 incarcerated men. It's gonna be really dope, especially because I've worked with a lot of women, but it's about time that these men start buying houses, you know, for our families, for sure.
We got to start having that pillar of, like, the black family, bringing that back and just getting home ownership back in our community, because that's the first step of getting back our Black Wall Street, all that. And facts that black people don't usually participate in censuses. Like the last large census was like 1870, where, like, the majority of black people really participated in. But I know, like, now we are working, like, there are, like, different groups working, like, to get that black census input, but it has to be from a group that, you know, we trust, because we do not like people, you know, knock on our doors all the time. You know, we have trust issues with that. So
and change takes time, you know, but we're that's okay.
I think they sent letters this time, or they did something this time. I don't think they walked up to our door either. I think, to be honest, I mean, it's wild that what we've experienced in our lifetime, I think, is the most, like, I don't know, just, like, mind-blowing, like, things that have happened just within our lifetime, where there's been uncovered secrets. There's been, you know, we now know that UFOs exist. Like, this is, like, a time in our lives where everything is, like, coming to realization. And I'm not blind to the fact that they left out black people and Native American. They've always left out the Native American population because they wanted them to seem like they're completely done. But I know for a fact that we are not just just million Native Americans left, because I know a lot of Native Americans just only in this state. Like, we have a lot of tribes here. So I know across the globe, well, just across this nation, people who have Native blood, like the amount that I have, you know, it doesn't need to be half. It doesn't need to be more than 50. Even a quarter. You just have to have enough to keep that lineage going. And I think that number of Native American people in this nation is probably a good amount.
Well, it has to be.
I mean, and white people too. Like, that's what I'm saying, because of what they've done.
People of this country, of this land. I
same
mean,
who's in black. Like, black is in their blood, and they were in the back in the day. You know, they made, you know, nasty names for them, calling them, you know, mulattoes, and calling them octoroons, and just weird names, like, you know, stuff like that. So they always, like, shielded that. They, you know, wanted to try to deplete that from their blood. But if you got black in you, like, you know, it's in you.
It's
it was a one-drop rule for a long time.
That's what I'm saying.
One drop rule.
But I mean, nowadays, all you got to do is just check a box, and that's who you are. So I mean,
I know. And then we got the Rachel Dolezals.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That want to be black. That want to be black. But I'm saying,
and you know, biracial, identifying as biracial is now, like, I'm gonna say the thing, but it is it's now a serious identification to take. You know, so you know, it's.
I mean, overall, I think our numbers are bigger than what they've always shown.
It's for sure gonna be a toss-up.
If they shown, like, the numbers that we grew up in textbooks and the actual number, I wouldn't be surprised. Like,
yeah. But we can't complain about a system that we don't want to try to impact either.
Exactly.
You know? A lot of people are just giving up on systems, and for good reason. Like, I'm not gonna say that there's not good reasons to not trust.
You can't all control the system, or
for sure, but we have to. We gotta use we gotta get civically engaged. You know, we gotta be out here voting.
That's what I'm saying. That's the one way we can really show our numbers, and we showed our numbers this past election. That's when people finally realized what can happen. Donald Trump can be president. Like, anybody can be president. Like, I'm not saying I'm a bad president, but anybody could be president.
Donald could be president, yeah.
But I'm saying, you know, we shown our strength in numbers, and not just people who are, you know, us, but people who are supportive of us and our causes and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with that in figures, they're always going to downplay our numbers. We never could really look at the numbers and see that as the truth, because we know the truth.
Yeah.
We know we could overtake numerous politicians. We know we could overthrow numerous, bad CEOs and stuff like that.
Definitely. History's always proven that unity is mighty power.
Yeah.
I mean, unity is probably one of the greatest powers.
Now we see that it doesn't even have to be us showing face. All it takes is a tweet.
Yeah.
You know, a tweet could air you out.
Everybody agrees.
You know, a video release could air you out. Like, that's all it takes. The media, you don't even have to show your face. All it is just releasing the information and just airing somebody's dirty laundry out. I mean,
as long as we keep an action plan, you know, we don't let the historical data, the facts, you know, just break us down, because it's hard, like, you know, to keep on fighting through a system that's broken, that's meant to oppress us, but we still have to keep fighting, and we always have. Like, on, you know, history will prove itself that when we stand up, when we unify across races, you know, thinking about Fred Hampton and the Rainbow Coalition, you know, I mean, that's right before he was killed. Absolutely.
Everybody in this room is already older than Fred Hampton. And think of how long his legacy has lasted. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, we got a voice that's strong enough to move mountains. You know, we just got to own that, and we got to represent for that.
Another word that you said is very important is engagement. Like, we're a lot more engaged in politics and things like that. Facts. I mean, obviously, we don't have interest in politics. It's not something we want to be in, but sadly, it's something that we have to have our head wrapped around in order to make a change.
You can't not be in politics. That's something that people have to kind of destroy. Saying
and that's what that's how we definitely roll a lot.
Politics. You know? Well, you're saying free your homie. That's politics right there. You know, you saying something's wrong with the hood. That's some politics right there. Like, everything you do in life, control. That is someone in charge of what you're doing, in charge of everything from, you know, the rules that you wake up and go to sleep to.
Exactly. You know? The sentencing laws, you know, I mean, everything. Law it controls and governs everything that we do. It's why we drive on the right side of the road, you know. Like, it's why we can't just be out here. I mean, you know, you can't just do anything that you want to do. Like, we have social norms, we have laws. If you want to change those, you got to be engaged.
And speaking of, like, the politics and, like, fighting for, like, what we need in the community, like, you're involved in many initiatives, Anzhane. So, like, explain to us what you're involved in right now, and then, like, what's coming on the horizon, and I want you to just let us know everything you're working on.
Yeah, guys. So my background's very much in law and policy, and I haven't stemmed from that at all. Like, I still work for the state. I'm a project manager on the Social Equity and Cannabis Task Force right now, which we can't talk about cannabis and recreational cannabis if we don't talk about the war on drugs, right?
Definitely.
And we know Washington
need that black
State,
ownership.
Man, we need ownership, and we need some of this money, like
equity.
Okay, cannabis is bringing in $500 million a year in taxes alone, right? So this task force group of community organizers and subject matter experts and some politicians got together, right? It was all and created this bill for social equity to set aside a number of licenses, retail licenses, specifically for those who are disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. So whether you have a drug conviction, you have a family member with a drug conviction, or you just lived in a disproportionately impacted area, pretty much any black person in Washington State is eligible for this program.
Need it.
To start accumulating wealth through cannabis. But then the second part of that is, what are we going to do with let's redirect some of these tax dollars back into the community. So right now, our session just ended March 10th. What was that, like last Friday? In this fiscal year 2023's budget, there's $200 million going towards economic development, reentry services, civil and legal aid for expungement, and youth violence prevention, specifically for Black and brown communities. And this is money that's coming back into our community. and nonprofits have access to it. Faith-based organizations are going to have access to it. For-profit people it's going to go towards home ownership. It's going to go towards small business development. $200 million, and that's just 1 year. I'm telling you, there's so much money that's just sitting around in our state's budget, and I mean, they're just adding to the pot. Yeah. So it's about time that the state's really going to do something. Exactly. I'm definitely going to keep you guys in the loop on when this money is released. The fiscal year starts July of this year. I know it says 2023, and that's something that, I'm just going to call it out. White people, they do this to confuse and to hold us off. But all it is education, Yeah, facts. This fiscal year starts July 2022 is when these nonprofit, these faith-based organizations, these small businesses, individuals that want to buy homes are going to start having access to these dollars. And then we're hoping that in our next session, we'll actually have some real legislation come out to make this an annual appropriation. Right now, it's just for 1 year, but still, $200 million, that's a huge win. Yeah. Let's go back. Let's go back to the Capitol next January, and let's really push and advocate for this to become a reoccurring fund. Because as long as they're making money off of weed, we need to be getting some of this money back to our communities.
I've been to some county and city meetings. I mean, how does it work about making sure that money is calculated and spread it out or dispersed correctly, and the money is actually being used right?
Yeah, so it's this is statewide funds, right? State money. So in order for us to make sure that the right organizations are getting it, they need to just have the right information. All of this money is being funneled through the Department of Commerce. So we need to keep our eyes out on Department of Commerce, hold them accountable. Right. Come to the task force meetings. We're meeting regularly, like twice a month, and we have different work groups talking about different things. We have a licensing work group. We also have this community reinvestment / workforce job training work group that are meeting actively right now. It's our insights. It's the people on the grassroots. That's who we are. Yeah. We're in the fields. We're in the trenches.
We are the grassroots.
We are the
grassroots. Foundational Black Americans. We helped start this country, and we need the help now to get back on track. And we taking faith of our own future for sure.
We need ours.
We definitely need ours. So we'll just keep we'll keep our eyes out on this money. We'll track this money because everything is public record. So even how Department of Commerce appropriates it. Yeah. And it's all about knowing the people, the executives that are in Department of Commerce. That's why we need agents of change, people like us in these systems as well. We can't just give up and go live in the trees in the wilderness. We need to be in these government agencies, right? Controlling who's getting the money, because that's how they've been able to keep it in-house. Right. Is because they've been the people controlling and dispersing the money. But let's get some of that action too. That's power.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Power is in wealth.
Power is in wealth.
Speaking of that, getting what is owed to us. So right now, a local, not a local, I said a national social activist, Tariq Nasheedi's raised enough money to create the Hidden History Museum. And if you guys don't know, it's for the foundational Black American history. Yep. All the stuff that is being taken out with the critical race theory, where they're not going to teach it to kids no more. He's finally raised enough money. They're just looking for property now in the California, LA area, to build this Hidden History Museum. It'll have all of the old artifacts from Jim Crow, from actual slave time.
We need that, man.
We need that for sure, because they really want to push that history away and not teach that anymore. But that's gonna make sure that we never lose our heritage. And honestly, Tariq Nasheed, he's also going to bat for us, because we are still owed our 40 acres and a mule for our families as foundational Black Americans. And all four of us, we're definitely foundational. So it's we got to get a part of this fight, and we're going in the right direction. Our people are starting to finally unite, and we finally can see that we're much stronger together. Even though we're a fraction of the population, we're so strong.
Yeah, we are.
We always show out.
What do you guys think about reparations? And
that's what I'm saying.
One more question to your information. Where's it gonna be created in? Sorry, I don't know if I heard the city.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be LA area, but they already got the money raised, but they just been trying to.
I know of all people, California would have a black, a black museum. But I know, out in the South, we're not Atlanta, where we went to.
Yeah, but they're trying to stop it though. They're trying to stop it though, because they already had the money raised by black people. It's I think $2 billion, but they've been trying. They found a couple properties they liked, but then the city turn around and sell it to like a white buyer and not to the black buyer. Because
Yeah.
they don't want that
That's how
museum
it always
there. Like,
works.
they're literally trying to stop it. So Hidden History Museum, you all look it up. It's gonna be coming. And it's gonna be great for our people. But
Absolutely. There's so much black culture on the West Coast, like, but why don't we have
It's
an HBCU?
untapped. It's
why
highly
don't we
untapped.
have?
It's too untapped.
It's so
It
untapped.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, our school systems aren't teaching this education, and it's sad because unless you come from a family that's rich in culture, like we're blessed to really have a family that educated us within the household, and that sat us all together and be like, yeah, no, we're all voting together, like at the table. But there's a lot of families that aren't like that because mass incarceration broke their families down in the 80s, or crack epidemic broke their families down,
So
and then
many things.
all that shit just perpetuates generationally, So we have to build these like de facto fictive kinship families, like our homies, our brothers, our sisters, people that we just kick it with. We gotta have these conversations with them. We gotta make this like fun to talk about, or just like whether you think it's fun or not, it's mandatory. Like
Right.
I'm not,
Right.
I'm about to shame you a little bit because you're just so in the clouds and you think that you can't care about this.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's how we pass down our heritage, our legacy,
traditions.
through these traditions, through these conversations. I love sports and music, and that's culture too. But I mean, what is it if we're not actively engaged, right? Like we've been talking about. What is it if we're not doing nothing about these systems that we have to live in? I mean, some people are moving back to Africa, but not everybody. We can't all do it.
And also, I mean,
I'd love to.
Speaking of that, the grass ain't always green on the other side because, although Africa is our homeland from, which our ancestors originated from, a lot of Africa is owned by China, is owned by Europe. So a lot of the countries over there, they sold, like they signed away their people's, like their governments.
Facts.
The governments can't function without European or like Chinese, like watching them, So it's
Chinese
just,
bought the mineral rights in Africa. How do you do that?
how do you do that when it's the diamonds are in the rivers, they're in the mountains? Like, come on, that's for the people in the future generations. Like, you cannot sell
all
all
that,
future.
all the
There is
beautiful
no such
gold
thing
in
as a
Africa,
dollar.
all
There's
the
no such
oil in
thing as-
Africa. It's all super enriched and ancient.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
And we don't have
crazy.
all
all of that is priceless. Like minerals and stuff that is from the earth is priceless. Dollars and this money
Paper?
is
Nah.
it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's just a number. So I mean, you work with what you got. That's the best like way that you can live by and be comfortable with yourself and enjoy your money and stuff like that. People who stress over money, like, oh, I'm just trying to save up, enjoy yourself, because you never know.
Yeah, tomorrow's
Obviously,
not promised.
that's what I'm saying. Especially that, but
Yeah. We gotta, it's all about balance. It's all about
Yeah.
balance, because we do wanna, hope, we wanna pray, we wanna have faith that we can live 80 years. And what are we gonna, what impact and thumbprint are we gonna leave on this planet or our cities, our communities when our time does come?
Yeah.
And if we could save money while we're doing it, I mean, I'm gonna bring it back full circle to real estate.
Yeah,
We're paying
that's
rent
priceless.
anyway.
That's what I'm saying. That's priceless. Having land, having something to your name, that's priceless.
It's definitely priceless.
That is something that will always accumulate value, and that's what, if anybody's watching this session to really gain knowledge from it, that is the best way to accumulate not only your legacy of passing something down, but having some wealth to your name.
Yeah.
And to solidify your family name, and just to like have like that there for like your next generation.
And to live debt free. Like, can we just talk about this scam that the banks tell us? There's good debt. You need some debt to build. I mean, excuse me, but that's, that stuff ain't real. That's how the banks make money off the interest. Once we pay our houses off, and that's why generational wealth is so critical, because I mean, this house would be paid off, right? Yeah. So my grandkids or my kids, they could always live. They would have somewhere to live and not have to worry about rent. So that whatever income that they are bringing in, I mean, that's their biggest asset. They can use that and put it back into their business, back into their passion. That's what these other, affluent white families are doing. These houses that they're selling now, they haven't been paying mortgages on them.
Estates. They're doing what we always dreamed of as cousins. being all together.
Exactly.
Oh, I can't wait to we could all get our houses all put together and be right next to each other, all in one land, just neighbors. We're all just neighbors,
Our whole
guaranteed
little
neighbors.
village.
And when we're forced to struggle with getting our buying houses and all this, because our people have been put to the side for the house market for so many years, it's harder for us to focus on being creative. And in our family, we are creatives, and it's the fact is that over time, like, think about for our next generation, we all own houses and everything. they'll be able to focus 1,000% on creativity because they won't have to have all these extra
Exactly.
stresses of fighting for that generational wealth. So yeah, I'm happy for us. We're gonna keep this thing going, and y'all need to follow Soul by Anzhane.
Follow me.
That was our.
Stay in the loop out this 200 mil coming to the city, coming to the state. Okay,
we
take
gonna
advantage of this money.
We're gonna be the first
right?
ones.
Absolutely.
We're gonna be the first ones to talk about that on this channel. We're gonna talk about it and talk about ways where we can allocate that money and use it for the community. But so yeah, that was our little real estate talk. Let's wrap it up with some local news and react to that. The first news story is still in the real estate realm. So Anzhane, I want to see what you think about this and what Stunt and Skip think. So there's a building called the INS building. I think it's the Inscape Arts building downtown Seattle. So because of the skyrocketing rent prices, the owners of the building are trying to sell, yet the inhabitants of the building, the people that live there, it's 100 plus art studios, from painting to music to just like acting. All the residents are raising money now because the building is trying to be sold, but they want to raise money to keep it there because it's a historic creative building. So we're creative individuals. So what do you guys think about that? Like, it's a big building with a whole bunch of like studio apartments, but like only artists live there.
Yeah, this is a great question. It actually brings me to like the time I spent in Italy when I was traveling in school. Italy preserves their culture to the highest degree. They didn't even have a Starbucks nowhere in the whole country because they are just so keen on who they are and their espresso. You can't go and buy a 16-ounce mocha. I tried it. Okay, it's like this little teacup thing, you know. I mean, they McDonald's really had to fight to get into Italy. But I say all this to say that there's something really beautiful in history and culture and preserving that culture. Why do they still have the Roman ruins like still standing from thousands of years ago? America, we don't preserve shit. It's all about money.
The preservation.
We just gentrify. We get rid of the basic bones of what makes these cities different. I mean,
I feel like it's just recolonization. I mean,
exactly.
I feel like it's just a way that they can put their emphasis on. They can change things whenever they want to.
It's like retooling, and like instead of rebuilding, they're just retooling how they want it to be.
Just how we were talking about reparations, they easily let us get COVID relief. Everybody got that stipend. Everybody
just know that they don't want to. The reason why they don't want to give us reparations is because they would have to admit their fault. Because it's not about the money being there. Because like you said with the COVID, the funds are there, trillions of dollars. They sent out to just all the Americans. Think about in the past for the Japanese internment camps, they got paid cash.
They did get paid.
Even the Jews got paid.
The Jews got paid cash amounts.
They were camps here,
and the camps weren't even here. So that's what I'm saying. It's a bigger problem and bigger issue that they don't want to acknowledge the wrongs and the fact that they had cheap and free labor of slavery to get this country to the head start that it's still in front of other countries to this day. That's what I'm saying. They have to admit they're wrong, but instead of that, they want to just focus on critical race theory, and we're going to just not teach that in the history books anymore.
We just got to, absolutely. I mean, going back to the original question, money isn't everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. When is it that we'll stop just cashing in our history for a dollar bill, And that's why I'm totally against whatever this INS building and selling it. I mean, you're impacting all of these creatives, these people that make... of course you're impacting their stability, but even bigger than that, you're impacting the city. Yeah. People that aren't from Seattle and they want to go to the historical district, they want to go to Pioneer Square or something like that. Yeah. They don't even know about the real history of the city in the South End, because it's gone.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you brought that up because my grandma still has her house in the Central District and she's making sure to keep it. Yeah. I mean, we get people all the time knocking on the door, calling, blowing her up about big offers. I'm not gonna lie. And think about it, they only got it for like $29,000, 40 something years ago. Yeah, and they're now asking for like $750,000. Like something that you would never decline, But at the same time, she's preserving that history and she knows it. So
and it's that generational wealth. She's thinking way beyond her time on this planet. She's thinking about you and your sister.
It literally reminds me of the movie Last Black Man in San Francisco, but it's like
that was a good movie.
She's like the last black household in the Central District.
It's
Because
actually crazy
in
that
the
you
80s,
say that.
Yeah, in the 80s.
My house is the only house on the block that has not been remodeled, not
That's
been
what I'm
rebuilt.
saying. It is
nothing.
still the
It looks,
same.
it
when I
may
first
be,
came
it
up
may
to
look
it.
like a little trap, but it's the house, and it's the only house on the block with a driveway.
Yeah.
So it has
literally.
stupid value.
And the driveway
Stupid
got a
value.
gate.
Hey, Skip and Stunt. Remember earlier, like a couple episodes back on Town Talk Tuesday, we talked about it. The Central District used to be 90% African American
Yes.
in the
Beautiful.
1980s. Just in a
Absolutely.
50-year turnaround, less than 50 years, it is now less than 10%.
Our family had a
African-American.
house in the CD. Grandmother.
Yeah, grandmother had a house.
In the CD.
And a lot of it's the property
Aunt Roberta
taxes
still
too
has her
that
house
be
in the
getting.
CD on,
Yeah.
we say
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Aunt Roberta, man, and
I
that
could-
property too is.
is yeah.
But I'm
going
glad
up.
she's holding on to it.
And it
for
has a
real.
mother-in-law too. It was one of the first, ones like.
Yeah,
with the
we still got
natural-
brick houses and all that, like
Yeah.
some really nice, beautiful custom houses.
Yeah.
But shoot, y'all. I mean, that's all I got on the topics for today. Town Talk
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
then Cap.
Yeah, we.
Hey,
that's what I'm saying.
let's
That's
wrap
what,
it up
hey,
with Cap.
that's what I'm gonna
Cap.
say. We gonna always end it on the sports talk. But yeah, y'all.
right.
How you all feeling about the QB situation for the Seahawks? And are we gonna get Cap? Y'all see he's working out with our Tyler Lockett, who we signed for 3 more years still. So how you guys feeling about that?
Well, I'm loving it.
I'm loving it. I'm loving the talk.
Yeah.
I'm loving what I'm
And
seeing.
especially the video that just got released today.
Man, I
in
love
live
it.
action.
I like
wow.
it. I think everybody said that, they see some zip on that football.
Yeah.
We're all liking that video
Some
for sure.
real zip.
And
Yeah.
I mean, his footwork is looking nice too. So I mean, just looking at the highlights of him running before, I remember he wasn't even sliding. He was actually just dipping his shoulder like Cam Newton. Like he was trying to run people over. Like he wasn't sliding like Russ. He was fighting for those extra yards. So
Yeah.
I'm for it.
Me and I were talking before we started recording, and I mean, we were just talking about the politics behind Cap. You know,
the impact is gonna be perfect. Though.
But so like
Especially
I mean,
for
he
Seattle.
has the natural raw talent. Like he definitely could take us, maybe not the first year, but second year, third year to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I
like
think he
let's see
can.
if we could get that real synchron.
Yeah.
If we can
If
get
it's
that
right,
real.
if it's right, I think it's
chemistry
right off the
going.
bat.
Facts.
But you think that the NFL would really let a black man
He's already
quarterback
approved.
kneel at the Super Bowl? Or do you think the politics will somehow
that's
impede?
the whole thing. Because look, we were talking about it before the show. It's just like, so imagine he gets back in the NFL. They give him a chance. He doesn't kneel all season. The Hawks look. Hey, the Hawks get to the Super Bowl and they're like, we got 2 weeks before the game. We gotta think. You think he's gonna do it? No, he won't do it. He didn't do it all season. Just for the Super Bowl, for him to kneel, and we're at square one.
Hey,
the
people aren't
biggest
going to be
stage.
betting
But
on
that's
the
what I'm
Super
saying.
Bowl.
But the reason is he has to win that Super Bowl, because if he didn't win his first Super Bowl, but if he did, I feel like the whole outlook would be different, because he'd be a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
I mean,
Well, I
the
mean,
fact that he'd be taking the team to a
That was
Super
in
Bowl
his
would
rookie
just
year, though.
obviously prove that
Facts.
he's a
So,
starting quarterback.
A rookie quarterback, I think he was going to be the first or something like that. It was like either not the first, or obviously you're just going to be the first in like 50 years.
He would have been the
But-
youngest one, because then the next year Russell won as the youngest one.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was his. Well, no, Russell won in 2 years because that was
Yeah,
2012.
the second year, but they
Yeah,
both came in
but
the second year.
in the second year.
Yeah.
But I mean, Cap was given a dog fight with the, and he didn't even have a good team. He was making people look good, honestly.
Their defense
Like,
was nasty, though.
Their defense was nasty, but Crabtree wasn't that good, obviously.
Sherman was better.
Sherman got
was better.
famous off of bro,
Come on.
but Crabtree wasn't even that good.
His
and-
whole career is
and-
being beat by Sherman.
Bolden is nice, but I mean Cap was really like feeding those guys. Like he was making those guys look like they were really
Superstars.
like superstars, like a superstar combo. And Vernon Davis. But I
Yeah.
mean,
I'm here for the rebuild. I'm here
Oh, yeah,
for
definitely.
I mean,
You
he
know.
faced
like this.
LOB, and
I like
that's
this.
the best defense like in the
Yeah.
history of football.
Yeah,
and
all time.
even at that, it was a dogfight every time he played us. Like we always were on the edge of our seat. Like Cap better not beat us. Like
Yeah,
for real.
He
And-
was a great rival.
Yeah,
for
and
sure,
those,
great rival.
Those Thanksgiving games were like the most memorable like games of my life. They were more memorable to me like technically than the Super Bowl because that was a blowout. Like that was just like my dreams came true.
Yeah.
Like we won.
I know.
Like, it was
Yeah.
like after
We won after
like-
the first quarter.
Yeah, like after the first quarter, it was like we won.
And growing up Seahawks fans, like, all the games are nail biters, your heart's racing.
Exactly.
And then after the
Man.
first
But
quarter, we
Cap-
were like, wow, we did it.
We
After
did
the
it.
first quarter, we did it.
I say
And that was
Cap
that, yeah.
Cap gave me more heart attack than anybody. So if he really comes to the Seahawks, like I fear him more than Brady. Like for real, like when he was at his peak, I mean he was running. and he was getting loose, like, and he's fast.
He's elite.
Like, and he
was
when
elite.
he be getting in stride, like, we just watched his like highlight video, and we forgot like he was running like 80-yard touchdowns and stuff like that because he's a big dude, and he be getting loose.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, and it was obviously the racism that's just been tearing his
I mean,
career
but that's
down.
the thing though. We could talk it up, but it's like, are we gonna be disappointed if Pete
he's
don't
bad?
do it? No, if Pete don't even do the tryout.
If he doesn't do the tryout, I think we're all gonna be disappointed.
Yeah,
we
we already got our hopes up
Yeah.
at this point, talking about
think-
it, getting
yeah,
excited.
that's what
Why,
I'm saying. I
why
think
you got him
Tyler
training with
Lockett-
Lockett
yeah,
if
that's
you
what
ain't
I'm
gonna
saying.
commit to this?
They have to.
That's what
They
I'm saying.
have
This
to.
is a has to, in my
But-
opinion. But what if Pete Carroll and Snyder just didn't do it? Like, what kind of
I don't
what
think
kind of
they're like
impression
that.
would
I
that
don't
give
think
on
they're
the
like that.
fans?
I don't think they're like that because Pete already is
Oh,
like
you see how Bobby was talking
what?
Bobby was real
about how they
mad.
dropped him? They didn't let him know.
Oh,
They didn't even let
And
him
then
not
Brandon-
entertain
and then
me.
Brandon
We gotta
Jackson
find the
too?
details. We gotta
Brandon
find the-
Jackson too?
But he didn't clarify either because Zach Miller, our former tight end,
I know.
he
I heard
quoted
him.
the tweet and he was like, "That's crazy because they called me after all those years and they called me and they let me know. So can you like clarify for me, brother?" And he never responded. So I mean, he might have just meant it in a different way. Like they
Yeah.
didn't tell me that they were gonna release me. They just tell me that they might release me or that that this was gonna happen. That I didn't think it was actually gonna do it. Like type thing. Like
It's
but
it's
he's
Bobby
not-
Wagner.
he's
It's,
not-
He
it's, it's a
deserved the
tough one.
utmost
It's a tough
respect.
one.
He's not
Well,
officially
there shouldn't
gone.
be
That's
no
what I'm saying.
question.
That's what I'm saying. He's
Uh,
not officially he's not officially on another team. So until that happens, I feel like the Seahawks are gonna match whatever offer that he gets. Like I feel like Pete always has him in the back of his mind. Like you're gonna I'm gonna offer you something.
I hope so. We
He's
all
probably
hope
gonna
so.
try to sign Cap for I give Cap probably
Cap's not. Oh,
10, 15.
He might ask for something
10,
big,
15.
but it's gonna be a
games.
1 year. It's gonna be a 1
10,
year
15
contract.
Oh, yeah. We'll see how we
You
do
think
in
it would-
preseason.
Well, they just signed Mitchell Trubisky for 2 years, $14 million. So I mean, I think Cap can get like $10 million a year for sure.
That's what I'm saying. 10.
For sure.
10.
Yeah. Well deserved.
Hey,
we'll
hopefully
see.
though, he comes to the Hawks though. We gonna see, and then
Hey,
if he
I'm
does by
loving
next
it.
Tuesday, we tapped in. But so far, free agency's been quiet. But hey, it's been another episode of Town Talk Tuesdays.
Come on.
Thank you
We
for
had a
coming
special
in, man.
guest, Anzhane, today, and she blessed us with a lot of information. This is going to be another historic episode because there's so much great information in this episode. So we just want to thank you for coming through, cuz. And
Yeah, thank you for your work towards the community. That's important.
Happy to come back anytime.
Town's finest.
We tapped in with.
Seattle's finest.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, so sign us off, host, and we out of here.
Okay, this is Stunt, Late Bloom the Lou, and I'm off.
Skip Jones.
Follow me at So by Anzhane. I'll tap in with y'all later.
We gone.
Come on.
Down Talk Tuesday.